Welcome to Simmermore University, Part 3, Video 2, Episode 4. Needing privacy and a place where their thoughts wouldn't echo across the campus, the Flaws slipped back into Echo's chamber. They lit candles, hung decorations, and added some necessary furniture, and settled into the cool stillness of the stone walls. By candlelight, they opened the Harvest Grimoire, turning to the spread Maris had found while studying it. The crystal ball flared to life just as it had before, but this time it did not soften into Thursday's sweet face. A disembodied voice cut through the chamber, commanding their attention. Mother Christmas does not walk. She arrives through chimney smoke, through dreams of sugar and sorrow. The four flaws are the only hope for our future together. Now get off your asses. You already have everything you need to find the answers you seek. Nana opened her newly started personal grimoire, and the crew began jotting down what they'd need as Maris prepared the Revelations potion. This included every book and journal they'd collected together. Meanwhile, back on the ground level of campus, Andre had been dragging through a rough slump, and it finally caught up with him. The Nix parked him in study hall with a blunt ultimatum: raise those grades or lose his spot on the school Starflare Hoops team. Starflare Hoops is a team sport played with a levitating, heat-shimmering ball that responds to emotional focus as much as physical skill. Andre decided what he really needed academically, spiritually, romantically was another date with Moneta Lexicon and a new hairstyle. After careful planning and a detour to pick up a single red rose, Andre invited Netta to the Isle of Everblush, where reefs hum ancient love songs and the moonlight gathers like liquid silver. He hoped they could slip into rest, magic, and a touch of romance. Once they arrived, Andre attempted to impress Netta with his signature drink, a Simmermore Bay Breeze with coconut rum. He even serenaded her with a love song. Unfortunately, Netta's mind kept drifting to the mysteries that had been haunting her and her friends. They explored the island together while sunbathing, volleyball, and Netta's favorite, swimming as mermaids. The physical play finally loosened the mystery's grip on her, letting her enjoy the entertainment of being thoroughly wooed. Andre ended the adventure with a candlelit dinner on a lover's dock, the sea whispering all around them. Before they left the Isle of Everblush, Netta gave Andre an adventure of her own with a little woohoo action. Meanwhile, Echo arrived at the now deserted Plumeburg, following her new assignment from the Cloudweavers Guild. Despite her protests, it was her job to revitalize Plumeburg and restore its status as a tourist destination. The Guild had spoken. To release some tension, Echo gave herself a quick makeover in honor of her new position. She styled her hair into a shoulder-length step cut and traded her little black slip dress for a professional metallic blouse and skirt. Nymphs have a slightly different interpretation of what professionals look like. Echo settled into the resident office space and began sketching plans to redesign and remarket Plumeburg. Tourism would return, one way or another. The threads tighten, the destinies converge. Simmermore waits. Part 3, Episode 5, Simmermore University. True to her word, Netta convinced Miss Marcy to let the entire group relocate to the pool house for the school year. To celebrate their new home, Netta baked some quiches with spinach, feta, roasted mushroom, and a whatever was in the fridge special. The warm, buttery aroma drifted through the halls and gathered everyone in the kitchen better than a spell. They enjoyed their first meal together, but the pool house was too enormous. Within minutes, everyone scattered into different corners of the estate instead of studying their clues. It was wild. Some were reading dramatically in the rain. Nana wandered off to commune with the wallpaper, and Sir waited patiently for a pedicure appointment that did not exist. A sudden bolt of lightning struck Andre. Instead of harming him, it supercharged him. He shifted instantly into his wolf form and couldn't change back. But his mind cleared and he finally saw how far off track they had drifted. No amount of wolf baritone speeches could get the group to focus. So Andre sat down, tail thumping, and drafted a plan. He would head to Simmermore Park and ask Scout, the town prodigy, for help. Scout agreed to help, but only for a price. Her terms were firm, her expression unblinking. Andre would have to pay in sugar. Scout gave Andre a rapid tutorial on the cotton candy machine. Since she wasn't allowed to use it herself, she waited while he spun her the treats she'd been craving for days. Fueled by sugar and authority, Scout rounded up the scattered crew. She marched them back through the portal into Echo's chamber and stood guard at the entrance. Under her watch, no one escaped or wandered off. With Scout and Andre leading, the group finally began organizing everything they'd collected. Piece by piece, the puzzle began to take shape. Meanwhile, Miss Marcy reached out to Echo. She wasn't feeling well, and Echo returned from Bloomberg immediately at her request. Marcy revealed she was experiencing morning sickness. Poor Miss Marcy. Her only options? Endure an hour and 46 plus minutes of purging or survive a quick commercial break. Please stay tuned for a message from our sponsors.
Pocket Familiars, now 30% more chaotic. Helps with spells, vibes, and emotional support during awkward conversations. Get yours today! Adopt responsibly. Mischief sold separately.
Friday the 13th arrived beneath a waning crescent moon, the final sliver before the blood moon cycle begins. What does that mean? It means to be continued. Part 3, Episode 6, Simmermore University. The Simmermore community takes an intense interest in magical pregnancies, especially those destined to arrive on the 3/3 blood moon eclipse. And since Miss Marcy's pregnancy was anything but traditional, it's just another typical day in Simmermore. 12 community members are summoned to the Pregnancy Support House to undertake their sacred support tasks for the expectant mother. Because a Simmermore pregnancy lasts only 9 days, their work must be completed before the veil parts and the child arrives. So the volunteers are magically sealed inside until the tasks are done. Traditionally, the father is sealed inside as well. But this time the child was conceived through magic rather than biology, sparked by a nymph newly freed after 1,000 years of isolation. Echo's job is to ensure the tasks get done. She warms up her whip skills while the 12 volunteers watch nervously from the sidelines. Once inside, everyone gathered around the dining room table for a communal meal, fortifying themselves before beginning the sacred work. Yet even in this temporary commune, a quiet divide remained. The Thanatos clan at one table, bound by ancient loyalties, and at the other, our main characters fulfilling the ritual duties woven into every Simmermore enrollment. Professor Flora completed the 12 while aligned with neither faction and present only out of obligation. The flaws in the guys feigned focus on their tasks, but the walls were thin, and neither Flora nor Echo bothered to lower their voices. Pleas for forgiveness drifted through the rooms, entwined with the whispered tale of how Echo had once been sealed inside a stone-lined box beneath the university. It didn't take long for the entire Thanatos clan to retreat to the basement bunks and settle in for a long, work-avoiding nap. Meanwhile, our crew knitted woolies together on the black chalet couch, vowing to stay awake until the tasks were complete, not only because they cared about Miss Marcy and the baby, but also because finishing early meant escaping their confinement with the family most eager to see the flaws fail. While Professor Flora struggled valiantly with the mysteries of preparing baby formula, the students gathered again around the dining room table, sketching out nursery ideas. Nearby, Echo perched with quill in hand, filling out her moderation plan, paperwork demanded by Simmermore's ever watchful bureaucracy before she could even think about going to bed. Eventually, Echo retired to the moderator nook, paused for a brief prayer, and climbed into bed. It was early in the pregnancy event, and she assumed she'd need her energy to motivate her inmates later. The flaws and the guys sit around the dining room table, writing, researching, and highlighting as they discuss their next steps. With everyone except her personal crew now dozing, Netta seized the moment and called the Bureau of Magic to complain. She demanded replacements for the Thanatos clan. Her request was met with laughter and snorts before being firmly denied by the gatekeeper. Netta was promptly reprimanded for misusing pregnancy support resources instead of calling the nurse. To cover her tracks, she pivoted instantly and began planning a girls' night in with the operator. Meanwhile, back home, Miss Marcy polished off a bowl of cake batter and got herself ready for her third-day doctor appointment and the official kickoff to her second trimester. The doctor explained that Echo's fractured nymph magic, reshaped by centuries of confinement, had resonated perfectly with Miss Marcy during a rare harmonizing moment. This emotional alignment triggered a spontaneous life echo, a magical imprint rather than a biological conception, planting a spark of new life within her. To celebrate the second trimester, Echo sent Miss Marcy a gift from one of the nymph crafted artisan boutiques hidden along Whispering Creek. It was a deep magenta maternity dress, hand woven from moon soft fibers and dyed with crushed twilight petals. The fabric shifted like living satin, adjusting to Marcy's mood, warming when she felt anxious, and shimmering faintly with her every breath. The comfort of the dress brought her emotions bubbling to the surface. I don't want to be pregnant. I'm a lesbian. This shouldn't even be on the menu. But wow, this dress is stunning. Friday the 13th arrived beneath a waning crescent moon, the final sliver before the blood moon cycle begins. What does that mean? It means on Friday the 13th, Echo revealed how much she'd grown during her time in the chamber. She offered Miss Marcy a promise ring, vowing to stand by her and help with the baby. Echo even made Marcy breakfast in bed, encouraging her to relax and enjoy the calm before the magical storm. And all was well until Miss Marcy pulled a practice baby doll from the back of her closet. When Miss Marcy tried to recruit Echo into playing with the practice doll, Echo executed an instant escape plan. She had a co-worker call her, clutching the phone like a lifeline, and announced she was being summoned back to Bloomberg on urgent business. The kind of urgent business that magically appears whenever someone mentions dolls to Echo. Dun 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 dun. To be continued.